Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. Tonight, LD could not make it. I sent him on another mission, and he was gracious enough to go for me again so I could be here with you guys. Isn't that great? Yeah. Anyway, I want to say thank you to everyone who watches us and sends me emails, sends me comments, joins in the chat. Please remember to like it, share it, and let us know how we're doing. So, with that being said, I do want to introduce this very special guest, Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Welcome. And she's going to tell us all about her.
Oh, I am?
Yes. I want all the little details that you don't tell anyone.
Oh, gosh. I don't even know what those are. You get old and boring. I'm boring now. Days are over. I don't know. Probably most of you guys, kind of know me or know me a little bit or know my story, but had a journey coming through the door of the paranormal from when I was young. High level remote viewing ability, very psychic, able to open portals and go out of body. Although, of course, when you're young, you don't know what that is. You just do it. Grew up in a religious home where none of these things were approved of, shut it down, opened it back up when I went to college. Started daring to let it out a little bit, which, has some kind of, street cred in college when you can tell people what's going to happen and you're accurate. Got the attention of the occult crimes unit in the Chicago police, and they were experimenting with mediums and psychics back then with occult crime particularly, and had some traumatic experiences thinking I was a 20-year-old medium who knew it all. I knew nothing. Knew nothing. Did my first exorcism when on the spot when I was 20 through a religious doorway. I no longer, have any religion. I'm absolutely neutral about all of that. Respect everyone's beliefs, but have none attached to any certain religion of my own. So quite a journey coming out of a Southern Baptist Christian home, Christian schools, Christian college, all of that, to where I'm at now. I do like this is heresy in my family. Like they would burn us both at the stake times 10, and then they burn our ashes too.
Well, I came from a Northern Baptist.
Oh, did
Christian.
you?
Yes,
Okay,
so
you
I understand you now.
Yeah, they'd be like, just the word dragon alone, they're done. You're gone.
Yeah, you're gone.
You didn't need to know anything else. So, coming, out of that and discovering who I really was and coming back to myself has been just a really crazy journey. And so I got into natural health, because of my own health problems. Never intended to be an herbalist, never intended to be any kind of healer, never intended to work with frequency or invent medical technology or program, frequencies or do any of the things I do. Never, would have dreamed it, imagined it, or planned it, or even necessarily wanted to do it. But really, it's my passion and it's my heartbeat. I love teaching. Didn't even know I could teach, probably it's a good thing I didn't know I could teach, because I probably would have got into teaching and I'd be like a crazy fun university professor by now, which would be fun too. But, this is much, I really enjoy you guys. And I love this field because, as you know, it's quite a childlike, field. Really, you can, really embrace, I think, the exploration still and keep that. You can ask a lot of questions, and you can do a lot of research, and you can meet a lot of cool people, and I think it's just so much fun, to be, and you probably do too, to be in this field. So, long story short, I discovered biofeedback and frequency, fell in love with it, had an instant expertise on a very high level to where I was inventing almost immediately and building on the people that had come before, pushing the boundaries of what you could do and how you could apply frequency medicine. And so obviously now I've had memory come back and looked at past lives, and I know this is not my first time around, with technology, although not your favorite thing, but it is, something I've always done and always played with, right, on what we would call in polarity, the light side as well as the dark side. So it's lovely to be able to choose. And so I work with what I call 100% benevolent AI. And yeah, just really thrilling to be able to help people, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So that's a tiny bit about me.
A little bit. Come on. Yeah, I'm sure there's more hidden away. No. We'll get to all that. So you said you you invented. I love to hear that. I love to hear that you pushed the button, you pushed the boundaries, and you continue forward on whatever was available. What was it, like a dream? Was it just a calling? What all of a sudden opened those doors for you?
Yeah, it was an invitation. I really wanted at the time, apps were big and coming, up. And so I really wanted, again, I guess I'm a narcissist because I really have always been, I wanted an app that I wanted. And
Mhm.
there wasn't one. Does that make sense? Like I wanted what I wanted to use with my client. Like I wanted to know, I didn't want to use what somebody else had. So
Right.
the first thing which actually led to my second invention, the first thing I invented was an aura and chakra app that I thought was so cool because I'm such a 3-year-old. And, it scanned your energy field and then it gave you an aura. But what I love, this is my favorite part, it's so dumb, but I loved it so much. It showed whether your chakras were aligned on the Hara line, and like opened or closed. And then you could play colors, and it wasn't just the normal colors. It was like a color rainbow back into your field. And then I'm so childish. Then you could watch the chakras line up, and it just tickled me to death. I know that's dumb, but I'm a very
No, I love that.
person, and everybody else seemed to love it. So, it sold really well on the App Store. But I hate to tell you guys, if you think designing an app is going to make you rich, it's not. I'm like, oh, I haven't. It's kind of like you put up your website. I mean, many years ago, I didn't understand how any of this business worked when I first started. And so, I launched my secreteverything.com website, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, all these orders are gonna pull in and people are gonna book all these appointments. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and I didn't understand, like, people have to know that you're there. I just thought,
Right.
like, throw it out there and everybody mobs you. But yeah, as we all know, there's a lot more to it. But it was kind of like that with the app. So what's really cool about when you create and you
Mhm.
contribute and you put it out into the collective consciousness and it's positive and high frequency, what it does is it attracts other opportunities that resonate on that same frequency level. So an attorney called me one day, which is always kind of scary. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do you know? Um, and he's like, we went through every single metaphysical app on the web store, and we want to talk to you about bringing you into a project. And so I started off working with a company called Amp Coil, which is a PMF company,
Mhm.
and advising on them and helping them write their apps and write frequencies. And then eventually that opportunity again led to the opportunity where I became a patent holder and own part of Halo.com, HAELO, which is a PMF company that I write frequencies for. So again, you guys, we talk a lot about action. I'm a big believer, Glenda, in action.
Mhm.
Embodiment's great. Like you can
Right.
be the most high frequency person in the world, and you are just
Right.
by being here contributing, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything. But when you do have that power, why not start creating around you, the life that you want? And so a
Exactly.
lot of times it's, getting out in the military, they talk about we're trained, to get off the X. And so a lot of us are, we've done the work, we've done the inner work, we've done the shadow work, but we're still sitting, kind of on the X. One more class. I have to take one more class. I have to talk to one more psychic. I have to read one more book. I have to watch one more YouTube video. As long as it's this one, it's okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to take action
Mhm.
because the multiverse rewards almost any action, even if we perceive it as small or even if we perceive it as negative.
Right. Right. I'm a great believer in action. It kind of tells the universe, the multiverse, that you're ready.
I
You're
share.
ready for everything that they want you to do. You're taking those steps, like you said, you're small, negative, whatever. You're just taking those steps, so they know that you're ready to move forward.
Right.
So,
And then I think assistance comes in, your soul family, your HE soul family comes in,
mhm.
loved ones come in, your support comes in. And yes, it's great to ask, but I also think, we're very supported and we need to take advantage. I always encourage my clients to find out who their soul families are, because, there is this weird kind of, law of non-interference here, but actually, because we're sovereign beings and sovereignty is recognized throughout all time and space, there's actually the law of sovereignty everywhere in the upper dimensional or more integrated planets where they're not so polarized. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we don't understand is, even if your husband died, or your grandma, or your mom, your sister, your brother, or someone really close, your dog, your cat, doesn't matter, your bird, whoever, passed, because I believe animals are people, which is a whole nother conversation. But
Right.
even if they pass, they may want to come help you. They may be waiting to help you. They may be standing by, but they're not going to, this is what I say. People say, because I do a lot of work still with, beings and other people and entities. And they're like, how do you know it's not positive? I said, I know it's not positive. And they say, how do you know? And I say, because a positive being is never, ever going to violate your sovereignty and jump in your body for any reason, ever.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know we went in like 8 directions right there, but
No,
anyway.
that's okay. It's go with the flow. But it is true.
Sure.
They will not take away free will. They will
Right.
not
I love
just
that. Yeah,
step in and do things for you.
that's true.
So it's all up to us, like you were saying. So um, now the loved ones, our soul family, or loved ones that have passed on, uh, I am very blessed. I've always recognized them and know who they are. And I have even ancestors that one
Mm,
I call
nice.
Granny. She's like mm, 8 generations back. And, I never met her in this lifetime personally. She was already gone many years by the time I came along. And yet she shows up and she's like, I'm your great 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 grandmother. I'm like, okay, and what do you want? But she helps because I allow her to help and I ask for help. She will not step in anything that I don't ask
Yeah.
for.
I love that. I do. It's so funny. I have to tell you a little funny story. This is
Sure.
very random, so you're gonna have a nice random.
Oh, don't go for it.
Um, so I always thought, because some of the ways that I recognize human discarnates or other beings
Mm-hmm.
is by like smell. I don't know what the official psychic word for that is, but like perfume, or you know what I mean. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you're
Yes.
familiar with
Yes.
human discarnates, or musty clothes, or gunpowder, or whatever their scent is.
Right.
And so for the longest time, I kept smelling, and it still happens every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, in the garage, just really weird places. I'll be like, oh, it smells like cigarette or cigar smoke. I'm a little slow, you guys. I'm sure some of you guys listening know this. I just found out that the gray aliens smell like cigar and cigarette smoke. And I am like, oh, here I am thinking it's like, somebody's uncle or grandma. Because a lot of times then I don't allow that. Sometimes they crash me, and I have a
Right.
really cool story about that. But I don't allow a lot of that because I don't have time. Like, my plate is full with my dogs, my kids, my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't practice as a medium, and that's just not my thing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
focus on the human discarnates. So I thought it was really funny. I'm like, oh, well, joke's on me, a little bit more abduction I didn't know about, evidence of abduction. So kind of funny.
Oh, that is funny. Well, I'm hoping that the smell that I assigned to my grandfather, it is my grandfather.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I never like
Because
chased it down.
he
It's just,
smokes. He always smoked a pipe. So whenever
oh
I
well,
smell that,
that's probably true then. I
right.
mean, yeah.
But yeah, it's like, oh well, if it is an alien, okay, it's my galactic family. So what? It's still the same thing.
I just thought it was kind of funny. I'm such a dense sometimes.
Well, this is how we learn because we haven't been able to ignite all that knowledge just yet. We're in
Yeah,
the
for
process.
sure.
we're in the process, we're in the journey. So
For sure.
any of this stuff can happen at any point. So, so tell us a little more of exactly what is it that you teach now.
You know, I do so many things. I spend a lot of, like, right before the show, I was just finishing a secret space scan where I'm able to look at people's fields and tell them if they're in the projects, what projects they're in, and literally what projects they're in, what corporations they work for. Are they being abducted? How often are they being abducted? Who's taking them? Why are they taking them? How deep are they? Are they a super everybody? This is okay. I just have to. This is my pet peeve, you guys. I just have to air it. I've talked about it before, but I'm just gonna, for fun, talk about it again. You guys do not want to be a super soldier. No matter how many times you watch James Rink super soldier things, and they make it sound great, it is not great. I'm speaking from experience. I am a semi-retired. Thank you guys. Thank you. Super soldier, and that's bad enough. So everybody thinks they think it's like this, like celebrity thing to be a super soldier. You guys, it's not. It's horrible. It means you have a ton of clones. It means you have a lot of referred body pain. That's not even your body pain. You can get diseases from being a super soldier. You can have mental and emotional problems from being a super soldier. Like, it's not something you want to be. However, I do obviously work with a lot of super soldiers, but we got to get over that weird little club where, oh, I wish I was a super. No, you don't. How much do you know about that? Or do you play in that realm? Do you not play there?
I know about it. But I try not to go there because it's like it's like a badge of honor for some of them. And I'm like, why? Why do you want to absorb other people's stuff and just
yeah, it's not and unfortunately it has to be my thing, but it always can. I'm like, no, it's okay. They're like, am I a super soldier? I'm like, no. I'm like, and you are really, really lucky. So don't get mad, you guys, if I tell you you're not a super soldier. It's a good thing.
It is. I am I'm more in the guardian realm. So it's
but in the guardian realm, and I don't know if we're thinking the same thing, the guardian realm though deals with a lot of the dark force energies. It deals with a lot of the negative ETs, right? Correct?
It guards the positive from the negative, basically.
So all of that.
All of that.
So it would, and more probably, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You would.
Yep. And it's like somebody that is important in this journey right now may have been deciding to end it earlier than they are supposed to go to the other side. And so you get a phone, kind of like a calling from upstairs and saying, oh, you need to go buy a Dunkin' Donuts, for example, and just have to kind of get that mindset out of their brain, make them focus on something else and make them focus on some good stuff and all that.
For sure.
So yes, so there's a lot involved that is, it's a lot of things that people don't want to know because you got to do a lot of sneaky stuff. Basically, but you get sent by the positive higher power, so
right.
And can you I like that, can you resign from that job midstream?
You actually can, but it's not an easy, like, I can't answer on a show. I'm just doing this class, Navigating the Astral, and we go a little into that. I do want to give you guys a hint about that though. Why are they like dark name? Did they freeze me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, they froze you. Go ahead. I can't hear you.
Typical when I start talking about stuff like this, but it's embodiment. Before you can safely do things like that, there's an embodiment that needs to happen. So I always say, we can go around saying to each other, we can go to these conferences or we can come on shows or go to classes, so we can be like, yeah, I'm the all, and I'm, and I'm everything, and I'm everything that is, and I'm all time, all space, and I'm all powerful, and I'm all magical. Yeah, that's great. Like, we can go around saying that, and it's a fact. I'm not
Right.
denying it's not a fact.
Right.
But there's a difference between saying it, even knowing it in your mind, and the embodiment saturation, not just
Mm-hmm.
for your physical body, but being able to hold it on a soul level, connect to the other aspects of you, and then project that into a practical application where it changes your life here and everywhere, all time, all space. An
Mm-hmm.
embodiment, you have to stand in embodiment. And because we're memory wiped and because we're here in this construct, we're kind of, at a little bit of a disadvantage because our enemies,
Mm-hmm.
are the ones opposing us, including human enemies, or what I call timeline enemies. Some of them have more memory than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an embodiment that we don't have. And, often, negative ETs and dark force energies, they have full embodiment and full memory. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can go up and say, "Hey, Mr. Dark Force standing in my kitchen, I'm Kimberly McGeorge, and do you know who I was?" And they'll be like, "I don't care, girl, because I know all I have to do is like say boo, and you're gonna fall on the floor sniveling." You know what I'm saying? We're not taught, that embodiment. And
Right.
that's one thing
Right.
I love that I do, because I'm able to look at your guys', feels. And not only do I see the glory, which
Mm-hmm.
most people, this is interesting too. We found out about 6 years ago when I was teaching a class, and the theme was I am glory. And you even say that, I even still have a hard time saying it, because that creates a lot. You find out all the places where you don't hold that when you even say it. Like, try it, you guys, say it out loud. I am glory. It's hard to say, like, you kind of choke on the word glory, and then you start arguing in your mind about all the reasons you're not. But so now we're getting gosh, you just went up in my estimation. This show just went way up in my estimation, because if they're going to trot out a military helicopter, then we're on to something here.
Yeah, we're on to something.
Next thing you know, they'll be kicking me off. But yeah, so it's things like that. So I can look at your field, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
see, do you embody glory? Is that a frequency in your field? And the sad thing is, you can guess what the answer is. 90% of the people I look at, they don't embody these amazing things that we really are.
Right.
So we
Right.
are them. We're just not living as if, and we aren't taught that these beings, this, of course, but we aren't taught that these discarnates and these dark forces and even these light forces, doesn't matter, that these beings are also sovereign. They also have free will. They
Mm-hmm.
also are ancient. They might be first wave. They might be third wave. They might be more ancient than we are. And so these are worthy adversaries. So we start talking about the programs and the corporations. We tend to think they're like these two-dimensional pieces of paper we can crumple up and throw away. They're not. I
Mm-mm.
cannot believe you got a helicopter trotted out. It's just going to blow my mind right now. Sorry. I'm going to blame it on you. I have nothing to do with this. It's all her, guys. She's like, oh,
You're welcome.
girl, you're trouble. Never again. I take back
I'm a Gemini. What do you want?
no. Oh, yeah. I've got a daughter that's that. She's trouble too. I'm going to take back that invitation formally right now. Just kidding.
So, yes, it's a lot of people don't really live to what they're saying, basically. It's like deep down, they don't really believe it. And um, I'm glad that you're able to scan that and kind of show them, because it's very important that people start really focusing and resonating what they are here for and what they came for, and
Mm.
all the gifts that they have inside and all the abilities they have inside, and the memories that hopefully they can reactivate
Oh,
before they're
love that.
convinced that they can't, or they shouldn't do it, or whatever else they it goes against them. So
I really think you just said something so important. I'm so glad you said it. I think the single most I would say of all the spiritual work I've done, even maybe a little bit more than even like a lot of the shadow work,
Mhm.
is recovering my enough memory. I'd love to recover it all. I don't even have anywhere close to it all, but recovering enough memory that you can, because it does help hold more of who you are. It's one thing to say
Right.
you're the all, but when you remember or know that you were, and I want to talk to you about this too, but a part of Napoleon, because we look at these historical figures, and I used to be like, why are all these quacks out there telling everybody they're Napoleon? And there are quacks out there telling people they're Napoleon, don't get me wrong. But in some of the latest research I've been doing, and I don't know if you've ever seen this or had the basis of comparison, because we all have our, things that we specialize in, and I know you do too. But we used to, and Sheila, it's funny because we're on Sheila's, channel, but and I've talked to her about this, so she
Well,
knows.
we're on her network, yes.
But walk in, walk out. We used to be like, oh, you're a
Yeah.
walk in. Oh, you walk
Uh,
out. Oh, you're
yeah.
about to walk out. Oh my gosh, you know what I've discovered? And this is throughout history. This is all time, all space. This is ETs. This is like most of us walk in and out multiple times, and it's becoming more frequent. I don't know what is going on. We could talk about that or debate that. But I know the frequency's higher. We're at like 4.4. We're in the fourth dimension, I believe. I think we might have switched into 4.5 in the last couple of months. I haven't checked. But so I know that might be part of it.
Right.
But I don't think we were ever, I'm not sure 700 years ago or 7,000 years ago, I'm not sure one soul group came in and held a body the whole time. Because when I look at the Christ and I look at the Buddha and I look at these big, big spiritual figures, they had walk in and walk outs all the time too of different soul groups. I don't know if you've run into that, but I'm finding that on a huge basis. It's hard for me to do scans now because they want me to tell them like, what type of fire creation they are. And a lot of times I'm like, you look like you just recently walked in and you're a new ET soul group. You look like you just recently walked out and you're a new ET soul group. And so it's just really interesting. I don't know if you bumped up against any of that.
I have come up to some of that, yes, where the person comes to me and even says to me, I really don't remember much. I remember up to this point, and then it's kind of fuzzy, and then all of a sudden in my 20s I remember more and it gets fuzzy again, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Yeah. So what were the parts that you remember again? And then I kind of put it together. But it could be that since we are in a higher frequency, we are in the higher dimension spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
and we really need to remember that the higher we go, the more of this memory is going to get activated, and the more things we're going to notice that were
Mm-hmm.
right in front of us the whole
I
time,
love that. Yeah.
but
Sure.
we were just overlooking it because we were blind. We were, blinders on. So,
It's so funny. I don't know if you feel like this, but 20 years ago, I thought I had it all figured out.
oh yeah.
And now I am wise enough to know I still don't.
Oh yes. Let's see, I was in my 20s, in my 30s, or in my 40s. Oh yeah. I, you know, and now I'm going to be 63 in June, and I'm like, yeah, no, not a clue. I'm just going wherever the path leads me to. That's where I'm going, and it seems like I'm more at ease when I
Mhm.
finally got to this point where I'm like, yeah, just go with the flow.
I want to say something about you. I don't know if it's what you've been through in your own, private life, but one thing I really like about you is you hold a nice, I haven't looked at you on the tech. This is just my psychic abilities, but
Mhm.
an ability to merge or observe your frequency. You have a really nice center. You hold center really well. You're really, I don't know if it's because you're connected to the elementals, if that helps. And maybe you can say why it helps, but you just have a real, like you immediately, because I can be all over the place way more than this, as they know, my people know. But you just have this beautiful, like calming, really mothering center to you that feels really elemental to me. Is that true?
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I am very connected to elementals. I am very connected to the archangels, divine beings. I work with them all the time. I'm very connected to the Arcturians. A lot of galactics I'm very connected to and have frequent conversations, let's just say. They're very connected to the what they call the Council of Nine.
Okay. Sure. Very familiar. Yeah.
So um, I absorb that calming energy,
Yeah. I love that.
and
Smart.
it's what gets you through life. Sometimes you just gotta pick your battles.
I love, yeah, another thing we learn as we, who was I just, oh, I was dealing with a work situation and they're getting me all stirred up and for this, for one of the companies I'm involved with. And I said, you know what? I said, I don't really want to go too far down this road because I'm all about peace these days. I don't, in my younger years, I thrived on drama. I wanted drama because when you haven't done your inner work, you know what drama does, you guys? And I've seen this in my clients and I see it in my children and I see it still sometimes in myself, but not as much. When I was
Right.
younger, I used to like the drama because it distracted me from the angst and the unsettled
Mhm.
parts inside of me, if that makes sense. It got me out of my body and like, okay, oh, I'm feeling their emotion. I'm involved in their jealousy or their anger or their, you know what I'm saying, or their
Mhm.
sadness. And but after, and I've had to walk in too, but after I have this just beautiful peace and expansiveness inside my body, now I don't want anything to rock that. I don't want the drama. I don't need the drama. I just want to keep my peace and expansiveness, which is probably why I live out in the middle of the woods with my dogs alone, and it's just easier to do. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, it's so different. So I feel that in you. I feel like we've had a similar little bit of a journey in a way,
Mhm.
that way.
And for me, the best place to live is in the middle of nowhere with a moat around, probably sharks,
Yeah.
and don't come in and disturb my peace.
It's funny too when we think about like the Eastern cultures, and the guru, any guru really, if you really study, even
Right.
Jesus,
Right.
the main gurus, they always went away alone. No
Yes.
cell phones, no companions, no lovers. They went up in the mountains, in the caves, and they went into no mind. And I encourage you guys want to know how to recover your memory? It's really hard to recover your memory when you're being beamed with a voice to skull and all the frequencies around you and all the
Mhm.
distractions. You
Mhm.
have to learn how to have a silent mind and go into no mind because you have to recognize, because there's false memory inserts too. And the first thing they're going to do is try to corrupt the true awakening of your memory.
Mhm.
They don't want you to remember who you are because then you stop the lose factory and you start taking the power and we raise the frequency and we flip the game.
Mhm.
So really a silent mind, and it's challenging. I don't want to put the belief that it's impossible or it's too hard. There's and I don't know who it's by, but there's an ancient manuscript written like thousands of years ago, and it's called Sitting and Forgetting. That's the English term for it, but you guys can type it in Google, Sitting and Forgetting PDF, and it gives you a very beginning to developing a silent mind, and it's a ritual you start doing when you go to bed, and it's just really helpful, and you can modify it to what works for you. But it's like emptying your mind, and so you get up with this silent, clear mind the next day, and you're ready to start your day. And so I encourage, it's really hard. I think we want the shortcuts. We want the QHHT. We want the hypnosis. We want somebody else to do the work for us. But do you know, you guys,
Yeah.
and I hope you know what I hope maybe you've had a similar experience. Do you know how magical it is when you remember something
Oh,
for
yes.
yourself? I mean, I have had moments. I had a moment on a live event when we were in Sedona and we were in the labyrinth with one of the natives, and maybe 25 people were there. Wasn't expecting anything. And this is when it's so beautiful, you guys. And it was the most gorgeous day. And we're on the top of the mountains, and it's Sedona. So you got the red rocks, you got the blue sky, and you've got the, powerful frequency and the rocks. And so I was just sitting there, not expecting anything, in neutrality, in silent mind, just holding space. And two of my husbands from like 300 years ago came and stood, not at the same time, came and stood beside me. And if you guys knew the story, this is opposition. This is a tragedy that turned into the second husband So to have them come stand beside me, like I have chills even talking about it. It was the most magical experience. But what made it more magical was I knew who they were because I'd already remembered that life.
Mm.
So it was like fresh, I know you've had similar experiences. It was so precious.
Yes.
It was so surprising. And it was like so healing. It was like them stepping forth and coming to that ceremony for no reason. Wasn't talking about romance, wasn't talking about love, wasn't thinking about it. It was this like divine, I can't explain it. For some reason, it healed that past. Them coming beside me in the present. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yes.
healed that whole situation. It was amazing.
And you just feel like that weight leaving your shoulders. You start tearing and you're like, there's nothing. And you just automatically start tearing. And it's just, and it's not out of sadness. You just feel so
That's
above
it.
everything,
Yeah. It's just,
uplifting.
and I would wish you guys all to have those profound, connection and memory, experiences. And since there is no time and all time is now, when you do remember those relationships, sometimes I go and I reunite with different people, my mothers and my friends and my children and my lovers and my husbands and my wives, because of course the soul doesn't have male or female.
Right.
And so it's so fun. So once you guys, get that silent mind and you can kind of sort out the garbage, then you can get to play. So when we say do the work is like your doorway and your keys to deliciousness and fun the rest of your life, not just here, but in other, places and other aspects of you. So I can't encourage you guys enough. Some of this stuff is worth not paying someone to do. You can't, believe me, you guys, I would have paid someone to have a silent mind instead of doing have a silent mind. Like, don't you think you have this kind of, because we live in 2024? Oh, this guy charges $777 and he says he can make my bank account. And I'm going to tell you guys, and some of you know who I'm talking about, but I will pay you $777 if you can guarantee me my bank account will never. I'll do it too. Like, I'm all for that. But we know that's not the way the game works. It's not the rules of the game, no. You guys.
Nope.
You don't need to do that. You're a powerful creator. You can create your own money flow.
And that what I tell my students is they should all have that, envision a toolbox, and every single tool, they take that toolbox with them because you never know which tool you're going to use.
I love that too. Yeah.
And it opens up so many doorways for them and visions and memories and all that. It's the same thing. I love to go to a place that's near our area, that's in our area. It's called Column Style. Is where two guys in the 50s brought all these big boulders from Scotland and Ireland and also England, and they recreated a really nice everything. They had they brought rocks and crystals, huge crystals, and they even did little temples, little chapels. So that energy there, you open the gate and it's like, wow. And you go up the trail and then you walk under an overpass. It's kind of like a doorway, and you walk into the elemental section. So you hear other fairies and you can talk to other fairies.
Wow.
But it's pure silence up there, and it's so beautiful. That's where I usually go when I need that quiet time and just unplug from everything, everybody and everything. So,
what's interesting too about what you and I both just said is you don't have to scrape up money to take a class with you or me, or a reading with you or me. Like, silence is free, you guys. I mean, it might not be close at hand. You might have to travel, even if it's in your car, and you have to, safely go to a safe location and sit in your car. It's still silent. As a young mother, I did this. I really did lock myself in the bathroom
I did too.
But at least it was empty. You know, I had 4 children, you guys.
I used to put a sign. My children could all tell you, they talk about it quite often. I used to put a sign on the doorway: if you knock or bother me, you're putting your life at your own
I
risk. At
love
risk.
that. That's
I
hilarious.
just needed 5 minutes to just realign so I could come back as a human, lovingly mother instead of crazy that they.
One of my favorite things on Instagram that I've seen, and I wish I'd thought of this when I had them, you know, you're taking a big dog crate and the mother goes in it and the dog's outside of it and the baby's outside of it and she's laying there with her coffee reading a book. She's like, I never figured out what these were really for. I'm like, dang, I wish I would have known that.
I know. It's the best, isn't it? Those moments. You just need a couple of minutes to just balance yourself again.
Just need that breath.
Take a breath. Okay. Kind of reset. Okay, here we go. All right, fine.
At the same time, and I love that you have children too, so you know what I mean, because you're a grandma, I'm a grandma, and oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that, but
no,
anyway,
that's okay.
We're very young grandmas.
Very young grandmas. I'm going to be 63. I'm not that young.
Yeah, you're gorgeous though. But you know what I miss? Don't you miss? Sometimes I miss. I had so many precious times. I had 4 little girls, and we were like a team, and we had the most sweetest, most precious, and we still do, but you know, it's different. They have their own lives, their own men, their own kids. But yeah, I just sometimes I miss that. So I always say to young mothers, and I know they're not listening, but I still say it. I don't know if you do, but I, you know, when I see this cute little family, especially if they have girls, I'm like, this is gonna go so fast. Like,
Yes.
I know it's rough, you know, and I'm cheering you on, but like enjoy it. Cause sometimes I want that back. As much as I wanted them to leave, sometimes I want them to come back.
Yes, I miss those one-on-one. Like I would take my kids during the whole summer months. Every Monday night was movie night. So
Aw.
it would be one kid, one date. So they could pick out the movie.
love
I
that.
miss that time and
Mm.
those talks that we had from home to the theater, after the theater, you know, come back and discussing everything. It's just I miss those times. I really do. But you know, they have their own lives now. They have
Yeah.
their own wives, their own fiancés, so on and so on. So
I'm with
you
you.
know, which is what you want them to do.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But-
Just sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, I think you and I probably both enjoyed it, but it's hard to be present when you have, you know, 4 teenage girls or boys, you know.
I had 3. I had
It's
3, 2
hard.
boys, 1 girl.
There you go. So you had both.
Yes.
But you know, there's challenges to that too, and
Mhm.
you forget, you know. So if you guys still have kids at home, I think you're lucky, and enjoy them and try to be present and in the now. It's hard, but you
Oh
know,
yes, extremely hard. Even if it's for 5 minutes that you can dedicate to just being there with them, that's going to take you a long way, a long way. So, um, yes, and you probably see your daughters and your grandkids now.
I only have one daughter. She's in medical school in Maine. The rest live within an hour of me. So, and my one daughter lives 15 minutes away from me,
Oh, good.
and 1 minute from my parents. So my parents, my brother, 3 of my girls. So yeah, it's nice. But if they want to move away, they've also lived other places, and they, you
Right.
know how they kind of wander back home sometimes.
Mhm.
So I always encourage my kids to, you know, fly high,
Mhm.
and do whatever they want to do, and not worry about me. You know, I'm an adult. I can take care of myself.
Exactly, exactly. And we make our life the way we want to. We want them to do it the way
Exactly. Well said. That's really well said. Yeah.
So now, have you found that there's a lot of people that are surprised by the stuff that you scan them or
Good question.
you find out for them?
Yeah, a lot of them are really shocked. They're like, "Oh my gosh, there was so much information," because they talk really fast. So, and a lot of it is because we kind of know intrinsically what's right about us and what's in balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, and I'm going to say it to you guys that are listening, you need to tell me ahead of time. If you want me to tell you everything balanced about you, I can do that too. But, basically I'm speaking really fast, giving them 15 to 25 minutes of information. And they're like, whoa, because you can say you want something and you know this. So you can say, I want to know, some of my past lives, or I want to know details. Am I being abducted at night? But what I find is they don't really, and they don't really want the details that I can give them. But see, I get excited about this stuff. And if you guys don't think I'm not looking at the same information every single day about myself, I am, because knowledge is power. And I just want to say to my clients, and I would imagine you would do the same thing. My clients have added this huge database so that I know some things for sure that I didn't know until I compared your scan 1 to scan 2, or Sally's scan to Bob's to mine. Like I'm seeing, you see common threads. I'm sure you do this with your clients. You see common themes. You start putting pieces together. So whenever you guys buy a scan, you're not just contributing, to your benefit and my benefit, but you're also helping, in my opinion, the collective, because that's how I found out about walk-ins and walkouts. And I'm like, oh my God, this is nothing like we've been taught. That's how I found out everybody's abducted, some more, some less, different reasons. Some are positively, some are negatively, some are mixed, and so we're learning all these things, and you guys are contributing to this huge database of, beautiful facts. And also, I also see how amazing y'all are. And I'm sure you do too, when you look at people, but like these beings, I just did a one-on-one, I think yesterday, and I'm like, and she was the most advanced being I have ever to this now moment encountered. But she didn't know that. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm just this. She kept arguing with me. And I'm like, no, I don't say this to everyone. Up till this now moment, you are the most advanced being I've ever encountered. I'm not saying I want to encounter more or whatever, but she just couldn't even show. Second helicopter girl.
You're welcome.
I cannot believe you. We're not even talking about, it's not even like we're revealing like
anything really.
No, we're not even like doing like deep secrets,
No, I know.
Oh my gosh, my dogs are going crazy too. Sorry, I was just looking at my foot over. Yeah, interesting. But it's just a little distracting. Sorry when there's a helicopter over your house, you guys. But yeah, so I just think it's really neat to be able, like it's a privilege to come into people's fields, but I love when people write me and they're like, that was life-changing. Like, so I think it's a privilege to be able to, they're putting out this frequency and all I'm doing is, reflecting it back to them. I'm not, I am psychic. I have a lot of good abilities. I am a remote viewer, but a lot of times I'm just reading, what's coming off them and reflecting it back. I'm not really extrapolating or seeing anything, what I'm saying, outside of what's already there. And so I just think it's a really big privilege that these people allow me, because here's what I say. This is my favorite thing to say, and I shouldn't say it. It's probably not good for business, but I say, if you guys knew what I could see, you would never buy a scan. It doesn't mean I'm looking at it. You know what I mean?
No, right. Yes.
It doesn't mean I'm looking at it.
Mediums, and psychics, I know that they come for a reading, for example, and you may see a lot more than what their higher self is telling you. You could tell
right there. That's it, right there.
So we have to discern what type of information and what information the client is looking for and is allowed to hear at that very moment, because their higher self knows whether they're ready to hear what you already know about. So that's why I'm very big on, you got to give me permission to do this.
Good too. And of course, if they're coming to you, they usually are giving you
right. But I make sure, because
that's good.
Some people could change their mind.
No, that's true. One of my favorite stories is Robert Lindsay Milne is a friend of mine, and we were just chit-chatting one day, on a Zoom call, and he's psychic up in Canada. And we're chatting, and I'm like, I'm going to look at you. And he goes, okay, look at me. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm going to tell you something really blunt because we're friends, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not saying you're going to die, but if you're going to die, you're going to die of a heart attack. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I walk 20 miles a day with my dogs. I eat healthy. He got really like irritated at me and kind of angry. So a year later, you know, I'm sitting on my couch and I get a text and it's Robert. And he said, I owe my life to you. I said, oh, really, Robert? Why's that? I knew where we were going with it.
Right.
I was walking my dogs and I got this pain in my chest. And I thought, I wonder if Kim was right. And he said, normally he would have discounted it because if you don't normally have that, you might,
Right.
you know what I mean, ignore it. He said, normally I would have discounted it. But he said, I called the squad and he had like a quadruple bypass. And if he hadn't, they said he would have been dead. And again, that's not me being psychic, you guys. That's his heart saying, I'm broken.
Right.
The frequency's out, you know? But I love that I can help people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a privilege. You know, it is so sweet, you know?
It is a blessing. And think about this. We both came from Christian Baptist backgrounds.
You know what?
We would probably have side by side burning
really
at the cross.
We arrived here, though, to where we're teachers and healers and, you know, use our psychic abilities and we openly proclaim them and we own who we are. And I always say this to people, they're like, what is my purpose? Well, first of all, it's a game. So you don't have to have a purpose. You can just enjoy life if you want and choose whatever you want. And that's great. That's a purpose. Some people do come in, as you know, with a purpose or a desire.
Right.
And that's why they came here. But I lost my train of thought. Your energy kind of throws me out of my body. What did you just say? Oh, I know. But this is what's so delicious to me. And you too. I make a living being me. It wasn't all these things I tried to do and pretend I wasn't and chase and do roles. But when it was, I really came back and just laid me on the table, you guys, being you is enough. It's more than enough. And your lowest hanging fruit is always going to be, we won't talk about pets being distractions and activating in our lives. But, the low hanging fruit, what should I do for a career? Should I switch careers? And I'm like, what are you passionate about?
Right.
Are you? That's going to be your easiest money-making avenue too. And your best. It's the, go for the things close. Then if you want to go be a lawyer, then if you want to go be a doctor, do that. But who are you? Do you write music? Do you love to talk? Do you like to make people laugh? Are you a writer? Like, do what you guys love. What lights you up? Are you an artist? That's why are we programmed in this reality? It's really sick that we're programmed that you can't be joyful and make a good living, right?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
They try to put all this fear.
That's it. Fear. Yeah.
So we're kind of coming towards the end. Anything that we haven't discussed that you want to get out?
Oh, we went all over the place.
Good.
I like that. That you hold that container, to kind of let the energy move where what people need probably, or what certain people need to hear. It felt like. I want to talk really, really briefly, and you'll cut me off if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to be aware. This is my theory, by the way. I'm not saying it's fact. I think something happened. Have you guys ever watched Supernatural? I don't know if you've ever watched Supernatural. Glenda, know what it is? Mm-hmm. They've had quite a few episodes where they talked about an influx of darkness or an influx, like a horde of dark spirits. And I have this weird suspicion because I've seen since the eclipse, and this is running hundreds of scans a week, I've seen an influx of dark beings in people's energy fields, in people's homes, and in people's bodies. I have this hunch. I haven't deeply looked at it. I think there was some kind of portal opening or gate opening or CERN or some messing around. I feel like we need to be a little more, not fearful, careful about where we're putting our physical container, what we're exposing ourselves to on social media, how often what we're
Mhm.
looking at, what we're watching, and where we're going. And I'm not saying, be like me into the middle of the woods, although it's pleasant, but or like Glenda, but and sitting in the middle of the fairies in the rocks. But you can do what you want, but it works too. But I'm just saying, I think we need to be. I'm just seeing a lot, like doubled or tripled of possession, and I'm talking in body.
Right. Well, and that's very unusual because it, a few years back, even
I
you
agree.
would see one out of 5,000 that claim to be possessed.
Hmm.
And but like you said, the portal and also the yin and the yang, they know that we were
That's true.
raising the vibrations.
That's
So
true
they're
too.
going to be sending their best soldiers to try to put that off balance back into
Sweet.
their balance. They're having more power. So it's that's why I keep saying keep those vibrations going, guys. Keep them
Yeah, I
going.
agree. I agree
Keep
with you.
raise them. Don't focus on the negative. Try to let go of that. Go for nights rides. Go for walks. Go
Yep.
for
Love it.
into nature. Into nature. So
And hydrate. Whenever
yes. Oh
nine
yes.
nine and a half out of 10 people are dehydrated.
Yes.
And I think there's something going on too, and it might be like the 5G tech or something, but
Hmm.
I feel real frying out. It also might be the new sun, which I'm gonna release my video tomorrow about my period. They dragged a new sun in, but there's something going on with hydration, not just heat. It's something else. It feels
Oh
electric.
yeah. Oh yes. Yes. The the sun waves, oh yeah, no. There's a lot of stuff going on at the same time,
Yeah, a lot of
and
stuff going on at the same time. I agree.
yeah, energy wise. So I am so blessed that you came on here.
Me too.
You know, it's a blast. Please, I want you to come back whenever you want to. Just reach out and
Yay, that's
yeah,
great.
of
Yeah,
course, I love to chat.
maybe we can pick a topic and we can,
Yeah,
flesh
but
it
I
out.
think tonight some people needed to hear everything that was
I
said,
agree.
and sometimes that's the way that the best way to go. But I love everything. I love the work you do. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I
you
want to
as
say
well.
thank you to our audience
Oh,
and
thank you.
Kimberly, your audience that's also here. So
Yeah, thanks
thank
for
you.
showing up. You guys, you're awesome. And some of you shared. So thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
she's going to be on my show in a month ish.
Oh, nice, nice.
Right? Right? You are?
Yes, yes. Towards in June somewhere, sometime. Now I forgot what day.
Yeah, me too.
But thank you very much. And I just wanted to say, as always, many blessings. And of course, guys, keep watching, keep sharing. The more people that see all these podcasts of all these people that are trying to bring the frequency up, the better it is for humanity in general, all of us, and the planet and everywhere. So thank you. Many blessings. And of course, we love you a lot, people. Bye.